Hey, vinyl community, it's Jason coming at you from the Jazz Basement. Thanks for tuning in here on the eve of the first drop of Record Store Day 2021. Hope you're all participating. If you want to do that, I know for me, my list is pretty short. I have my eyes out for the Kenny Dorham Quiet Kenny because I'm unlikely to find an original there. So that's on my short list. Drop me a comment. Let me know. What are you looking for? Are you participating? Are you gonna go early? Or are you gonna hang back and try and swoop in late, or not at all? We'll find out. Fingers crossed that everyone watching this gets what they want. Ultimately, it's fun to go with friends and just have a day of it. So, with that said, just a couple of quick finds for you that I've picked up over really the last 4 or 6 weeks. I really forget, these aren't anything too recent, but it's heat, and these are all, I think, essential jazz records. So it's worth tuning in. First and foremost is going to be this. This is Art Pepper meets the rhythm section. So Art Pepper on the alto saxophone. He was more of a West Coast style, a little bit more laid back, and then obviously the date with the rhythm section, Red Garland on piano, Paul Chambers and Philly Joe Jones on the sticks. That was Miles Davis rhythm section. So you're dealing with some really high quality musicians, to say the least. Really interesting session, kind of a mix of kind of East Coast hard driving with the rhythm section, a little bit more laid back with Art Pepper. I was playing this today. This is a phenomenal album. This is an absolute must own. This particular release, I think, is from 1972. It's not the original label there, but sounds great. It's a stereo copy. Got it from a friend for pretty cheap. It's great. If you can't find this in the wild, which is actually pretty hard to do, and originals go for several hundreds of dollars, even more on eBay, OJC has this imprint, and you can pick it up for about 20 bucks. Next up was a recommendation from a viewer. As you know, I've been on a big jazz guitar kick. Have picked up Joe Pass last week, and this was one that was on my short list for a long period of time. Jim Hall Concerto, Paul Desmond, Chet Baker, Ron Carter on bass, Steve Gadd on drums, and Roland Hanna, obviously Jim Hall on guitar. This is a great session. This is an absolute masterpiece. If you love jazz guitar, you gotta find a way to get a copy of this. It's fairly available. It didn't take too much time to track a copy down. It's mastered by Van Gelder. It's released on CTI, which is a often overlooked label, I find. I know Freddie Hubbard's done a bunch of stuff for CTI. This is a great label. This is a great record if you love jazz guitar. I got hooked on Jim Hall through his work with Bill Evans in Undercurrent and Intermodulation. So phenomenal, definitely worth picking up. Next up was one that I had that I upgraded. This is Clifford Brown Memorial Album. Really interesting backstory. So Clifford Brown, if you don't know, one of the best trumpeters of all time. He died in a car crash when he was 25. This particular album is actually composed of 2 different sessions, I think in 1953 and 1954. This came out in 1956, originally on the 767 Lexington Avenue labels. This is a early 60s press, so it's got, it is mono. It's got the West 47 63rd labels. It does have the ear. Got it pretty cheap. It's in great shape. And again, Clifford Brown, if you're not familiar with his work, was considered at the time one of the top 3 trumpeters ever, right there with Diz and Miles Davis. life cut far too short. Um, I really like this album. I think his work on Art Blakey's A Night at Birdland, Volume 1 and Volume 2 is unbelievable. The solos there are great. So definitely find a way to get some Clifford Brown into your life, and this is a great album. There also is another album that is called Clifford Brown Memorial. That was actually I think issued right after this. It was done post his death, but this was recorded from earlier sessions and just really iconic artwork, as you can tell. So phenomenal pickup. Really excited for that. And the last one today is one that I mentioned earlier in the jazz vinyl tag. You know, the vinyl record collecting is an interesting in how it works. In my jazz vinyl tag, the big hole that I had mentioned was Kenny Dorham. And fortunately, Blue Note had released some of his seminal works through either Tone Poet or the Blue Note 80th anniversary series. So about a month ago, I picked up the 80th anniversary of Unamaz, and then literally 2 weeks later, I came across this copy. I bought this one online. But it's Unamaz, it's the mono, so it's 4127. Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Joe Henderson on the saxophone, Herbie Hancock on the keys, Butch Warren on bass, and Tony Williams on the stick. So great lineup. The music's phenomenal. A little more Latin inspired. It's a really, really killer album. And this is an interesting one. So it's, again, mono, which we talked about, and it's the New York, USA labels. It does not have the ear, so we know it's a Liberty Press, but this particular issue is not in Discogs. So they do have a Liberty Press with the Liberty labels, I think from 1967, but we know it doesn't have the ear. Using the old labels, this is probably most likely a 1966 pressing, but super clean, as you can tell. Got this through Bop Shop, which was a brick and mortar store in upstate New York. They had gotten this killer collection in. Literally, most of the stuff was just pristine and priced accordingly. So, and in some cases, priced pretty aggressively. This was not. I got a pretty reasonable deal on it, so I'm really happy about that. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope everyone, if they're participating in Record Store Day, you get everything that you want. I know Kenny Dorham's going to be a tough get. There's not a lot of them out there, and it seems like everyone that I know that's into jazz is going for it. So hopefully I'll be able to snag that. Let me know in the comments what you're looking for. You know, what's on your want list, and we'll see what we get in a future video. Have a good night.